Welcome to bLU Talks.
Hi.
Okay, cool. Hi, Katherine.
Hey, how are you guys?
Well,
Doing
we are just doing
fantastic.
great. How are you?
So fantastic. I love your backgrounds.
Thank you so
This
much.
is actually Corey inspired. Didn't you
I-
have a background similar to this at one point, Corey?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Not did, I do. It's just not, I don't think it's up on any of the walls right now.
Well, that would be kind of cool if we coordinated and had the same backgrounds.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting you say that because our first few ones, Elise was like struggling with not having a background. And I know you were like, and I say this, it wasn't off air. Like you were on the air saying, wow, I wish I had a background like this. And all of a sudden.
I was in an RV and I'm like trying to close the curtains so you don't see the background. And Corey's like, you could go on Amazon. And I'm like, really? So
You've come a long way.
You never know where I am.
It's
right
like
now.
the new texting, what are you wearing, right? To coordinate outfits. It's coordinating backgrounds now.
Well, I like your background. Is it real or is it one of those green screen images?
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
Cute.
It's a local artist in Alberta.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. So, Katherine, having said all that, tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you a little bit better, and our guests as well, of course, and our viewers can learn a little bit more about you as well. Can you tell us?
Yeah, what's your catalyst?
What's the catalyst? So, well, thank you for having me. Super honored to be here with you both today. I was listening to the conversation with Jenny, taking copious notes, and so much of what she was sharing really aligns with the work that I do. And so Catalyst coaching is, it's my passion in life. It is, what is a catalyst? So a catalyst is a spark that elicits change, right? Lots of people talk about having a defining moment in their life or in their business, and it's that spark, it's that catalyst. And so catalyst coaching is really being that spark for people to start to learn how to tap into their own wisdom, their own guidance, their own spark, right? Like to actually develop that within themselves. So yeah, that's what it's about.
And I love the play on words, Katherine, catalyst with a K. I mean, come on, girl, after my own heart, Brandon.
You get it. I love it. Yeah, it was one of those, those kind of divine downloads where something just sticks with you and sticks with you and sticks with you. And you got to go with it. Yeah. So catalyst.
Well, it's like flip your script kept coming to me. Flip your script, girl. Flip your script, girl. Flip your script. Yeah. I'm like, flip your script coaching. People talk about thoughts become things all the time.
Yeah.
Flip your script. So it was kind of just that whole, so I get it. And then when we were talking about the soul, right? With Lisa.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what I do, is helping people connect to that inner guidance, the divinity within them. And my belief, and beyond belief, my absolute knowing is that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience, that we are expressions of the divine, and that our dreams, our goals, our vision for what we would love to create in this life, those are things that we are here to uniquely experience. Nobody has the same dream. No one has the same vision.
No, you're right. Never really heard that before, but it's true.
Yeah, and no one can live the same life. And so to really support people in actually stepping into that and identifying, well, what is that I'm here to be and do and have and express and experience in this, in this earth school that we're all navigating. And then how do I do it? So how do I identify it? And then how do I actually, flip the script on all of the limiting stuff that we've all been subconsciously programmed with just by being, human beings? And then how do I actually move in that direction of creating that life that I love?
So did you always know that you had this gift to help people find their catalyst for their life?
I joke with people. So I actually have a flat spot on the back of my head. And my joke is that I have it because I came down saying I'm going to take the hard way, like literally like banging my head against the wall, right? Like that didn't work, that didn't work, and for so long, when I look back, I'm like, duh, like it was there, but ignoring it. And so ignoring.
It gets louder and louder and louder.
Yep, the universe turns up the volume, right? It starts with a whisper, and when you ignore that, it turns up the volume. So,
Yes.
yeah, so I think I always had been in those roles. And I have a master's in counseling and have done lots of leadership development and worked in nonprofits and education and business. And but just really up until I finally got the message, or finally listened to the message, I should say, tuned into the message, had been, kind of ignoring it.
Okay, so when did that, what I call flip your script moment or haha moment, sort of transition into the journey that you're on now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I look up because I have a vision board right above my computer. And my husband and I were in business together. We'd actually grown a multiple 7-figure business together in the construction industry. And lots of really amazing things about it. We loved working together. We loved having that shared focus and project and spending so much time together and really creating it together. And we were both wanting to create the kind of organization where people could bring their full self to work, right? The guys, and I say guys because it was industrial construction. So primarily, male tradesmen could bring their full self to work, be fully there, and then go home and be more present with their family, more engaged in their community, that we'd have that kind of relationship with our stakeholders and vendors and clients. And so that was really our vision for what we were trying to create. And through that process, I started really, really tuning even more into the work of like Joe Dispenza and, Abraham Hicks and
love them all
of them. And I'd been reading and studying and learning about, and I'd had times in my life where I had applied the principles and I had results, but I didn't know how, and I didn't do it consistently. So I'd kind of unconsciously have some competence, but it wasn't repeatable. So through that process, I was listening more to the discontent and the longing, and, grateful for the parts of it that I loved and that I really enjoyed. And also really starting to tune into, this isn't how I want to show up. It feels like I'm contorting myself. Like I'm trying to make the business be something that's really not the environment necessarily for it to be easy and to flourish. I'm trying to, or was trying to, contort myself, saying, oh, when it doesn't need me, then I can go do what I want. When the cash flow looks like this, then I can that, right? So that when then game that I think so many of us play, where we start to hear that whisper, I would say, oh, when the kids are older, then I'll do this. Or when my bank account, looks like this, then I'll go do this. Or when COVID is over, or, when I get the promotion. So we play that game where we put off what's important to us. And I was totally in that game. And so I created this vision board because I thought I want to get clear on what I actually want to create. Because I know that, again, lots of things to be grateful for in the experience I'm having. And it feels like it's really not where I'm meant to be. So I created this vision board. In the middle of it is this, now I know I call it a luminous light being. So it's this, this kind of like image of a person with light coming out. And I was almost done, and I'm like, I'm not quite finished. There's actually some pieces missing, and they were some words. So community, abundance, love, service, spirituality, and gratitude. So I added those, and I'm like, oh, this is, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how this works. I don't know what,
but it's a vision board, and I did it.
I did it, and I trusted, like I fully went into the process. And maybe 3-4 months later, we had a major oil and gas client who owed us a lot of money. They went bankrupt. And so we had to close our business. And it was extremely challenging. It was extremely painful. It was devastating. We had put everything into it, our lives, our energy, our resources. And yet during that process, there was a part of me that was open. There was a part of my brain, a part of my soul, a part of my heart that was open to the idea that, oh, maybe this is happening for a reason.
Was
Right?
there a little essence of relief?
There absolutely, when it kind of got through, there was lots of imagining what it might look like and how it would go and what people would think. And then all of those limiting beliefs that come up right around quote unquote failure. And through that process, as we were closing it, I found myself looking at job postings online. And I would look at a job posting and I could feel that familiar, like, contortion mindset, that contortion thinking happening, and thinking, well, it's not like this could work. I don't love these parts, but if I contort myself, then I can make it work. And I had this moment. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? I've done this for so long, thinking it's for this purpose. And look what happened. Look what happened. So in that moment, I made a decision. And we all know that that's when your life changes, is when you make a decision that something's going to be different, even in the absence, and especially in the absence of knowing how it's going to happen, right? But that something was going to be different. And so I decided, you know what, I'm done with putting what I want last. I'm done with contorting myself. I did it for so long, and it literally got me to this point, right? So I decided I'm going to do what I love. And so this was January 2020, and we all know what happened in March. So prior to that, my husband actually shipped off to Africa on Valentine's Day for a job that was supposed to be a rotation job. I went to Vancouver Island to support my mom through cancer treatment. On March 20th was when they declared the provincial pandemic. She passed away the same day. My husband
Transitioned.
Totally, right? The
The
business
same.
is done. My mom has passed. My husband was stuck in Africa for 6.5 months during the COVID pandemic. And yet there was that part of me that knew and trusted, okay, this is actually, like, yes, not to dismiss how challenging and devastating it was, but there's this feeling of like, okay, there's something else emerging here. There's something else emerging here. And so I leaned into the process, and then actually my husband sent me an email about a coaching program, because I have a master's in counseling, have a couple of bachelor's degrees. It's really important to me to have coaching that is based on proven, repeatable, reliable systems. If people are going to invest in themselves, I want to make sure it's something that's going to work for them. If they're fully into the process, that it's going to work. And I've done lots of curriculum development in my life. And so when I found this coaching program that I then invested in and got certified in, it ticked all of the boxes. And it actually felt like I had come home, where much of my life, I felt like I'm kind of that, square peg in the round hole of life, not quite fitting. It felt like, like these are people who get it. These are people who get it. And just this immense feeling of like, right? And that even deeper trust in the process and the universe and how to work with that. And so, yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So I'm going to just, do you have any kids?
I
Totally.
did
what you
yeah.
said, but I'm just curious.
For children, and we've had nieces live with us over the years. So we're like,
You had four?
Surrogate parents to nieces lived with us, and then for children. Can you hear me
I don't know
okay?
what's happening.
Yeah, there's a buzzing happening.
Is it with me?
Let me see.
Hello?
Bueller.
I think it's on your side. Let me just try something here. Elise, what does it sound like now?
Fine.
Yeah, I think it's on your side, Kathy.
Was it always there? Or did it just
No.
start?
No, to start.
It sounds like there's been some sort of entity that showed up in your microphone right now.
Love and gratitude. Love and gratitude. Let me unplug it and plug it back in.
Okay, and Elise, just so you know, she said fur babies.
Oh, fur babies. I was like,
Yes.
4
You're
babies.
thinking of 4 babies?
Oh.
I think she's just unplugging it and plugging it back in. I think probably
Okay.
her camera and mic might be tied in together.
Okay.
But yeah, I knew you were trying to fur, and I knew she was saying fur, and I was trying to decipher between this. So let's just see. Hopefully this fixes it.
All right. As she's popping back on. So how did you meet Katherine?
Oh my gosh, this is the hard part. After being out there so long, it's hard for me to remember who the original connection was. Katherine might remember better than me, but
it was Rosalind.
Oh, today's the Rosalind.
Dang, today is Rosalind's Day. Woo woo for Rosalind. Wait, isn't Jenny too, right? The trifecta? Did Jenny?
Yeah.
Wait,
Jenny was a connection through Rosalind as well. Yeah, so today's
you got
Rosalind.
yourself like a little what is it? The person you send out and they bring you back, like bring back all your people. That's Rosalind.
Well, Rosalind's that person for everybody. She's I mean, she's a magnet, and she talks about that becoming a magnet, but she's like the magnetic connector, or magnetic networker. I don't know what she's got, something where she's just like she'll go into a room and say, I need to know that person. And then like 3 years later, they're best friends. Like she's just got.
I'm going to try that. I love it.
Yeah, she's a super. That's the best term I can put it. She's a super connector.
Yeah, super connector. Yeah.
She truly is. But it's not. But it's kind of cool because the odds of it ever being all 3 people would be pretty low. But today's Rosalind's Day, so I'll have to tell her, because I think we gotta. I'm going through her story for the book, the next issue of the book. So I'll be talking to her probably tomorrow. So I'll tell her yesterday, meaning today, was Rosalind Day. So
it was a trifecta. It was the Rosalind trifecta day.
Absolutely. And Katherine, I think you sound. I think it's fixed.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, much better. So they're fur babies, not 4 babies.
Like woof woof meow.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah, and then we've also been surrogate parents to nieces that have lived with us over the years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to ask my question. So if I came to you, like, okay, so who is your target? Like, what area? Like, so because you've become so in alignment with this journey that you're on, is there a specific group of people that you resonate with, or that tends to resonate with you on their journey?
That's a great question. It tends to be, so I work with women and men. I work with, like younger, like age range from mid-20s to 60s, 70s. And I also have a podcast called My Dead Dragon. And it's conversations with women who woke up one day and realized that no one and nothing was coming to save them, and that they had to become the heroine of their own life and the main character of their own story. So that's really who resonates with me, is women who have realized, wait a minute, I've been putting myself last all of my life. I've been feeling like I don't matter, like what I want isn't important. And often it can show up like anxiety or depression. It can show up with, health dis-ease. It can show up with relationship discord. It can show up with lack of results in terms of the financial impact because of the belief that, I'm not worth it. And so that tends to be who really resonates with me, is women who have realized, okay, it's my turn. It's my time. It's time for me to really figure out, what is it that I want out of life? What would I love for my life? And then how do I create that?
Perfect. Well, there you go. So, Corey, do you have any questions?
Well, I'm basically.
You're so good with them. You're like staring. I didn't want to interrupt. I was like,
no. That's okay. I'm getting. I shortly, like within a minute or two, I have to move over to my live training I'm doing. So let me ask the final question, and then I'll leave it back to you both to continue. And I'll be watching, just so you know, Elise, on phone, and try to watch for when you're done, and then I'll just end it after that. But don't you worry about that. I'll figure that out for ending the video. Having said that, yeah, Katherine, I guess the one question I would ask, and maybe I haven't asked this all week, so I'm going to ask you the question that I ask typically, and I don't think I've ever asked you, and I haven't asked it all week, which is my time machine question. Because I like to ask it as much as possible. So I'd love to get your take on, if you could jump into a time machine and go back and talk to a younger Katherine, give her one piece of life advice based on what you've learned in the years since. What do you think you might tell young Katherine?
I would tell her, you are enough. Nothing wrong with you. And you actually get to decide what you want for your life. You get to decide, and you have the power to choose your thoughts and create your reality.
I love that. And, you know, that's been a common theme this week. We've talked about it. You know, you get to choose, and you get to create your reality. You know, even just like I said it earlier today at some point, the only thing we get to do, really the only thing we have power over, for sure, 100% at all times, is making decisions. You know, to choose how we think, to choose what life we want. We have this power. I mean, I think a lot of people have given it up or think we don't have it, sadly, but we do. We have this power to choose. And I really do feel it's the only thing we 100% for sure have freedom over. You know, people can try to force us to choose something, but it's the only thing we have power over. So I love that. We get to choose what we create, because we truly, honestly do. And I wish everybody knew this. And again, I know Elise is big on non-judgment, so I'm not judging people for not knowing it, but I just wish and hope for everybody to know this. Almost like Jim Carrey said, what did he say? I hope for everybody to have money to realize they don't need money. You know, and it's, for me, like, I wish for everybody and hope for everybody they could realize that the only thing you have control over is your decision.
Which impacts your perspective. Right. And that is it. But that's a really big thing, Corey. Like, there's so much truth in that what we have are choices. But there's so much that holds us back from making certain choices. So that could be really big for somebody who's watching right now, who I know I have choices, but I don't know what choice to make. Or I know I have the ability to create my reality, but I don't know where to start. Or so knowing something like that's like going to like one of these big events, like these motivational events that you could be anything and do anything and have anything. And we have speakers that tell you that you can and you can do. And then you leave and you're like, I know I can. And now I know more than ever, but I don't know where to start. And that feels even worse. So I just want to like ease anyone who's watching right now, ease your anxiety or ease your I don't know-ness, that it's okay that you don't know. Right. Yeah. But just know that it's possible. Like, if you could just start knowing it's possible and be at ease with the fact that it is possible, and you don't have to know how necessarily right now, just that sense of relief and knowing that you don't have to know how is a really good place to start.
Well, to that point, since I'll cap it off by saying, since I've given her so much promotion this week, Cappy Pidwell with her Mindset Code book, I think you and maybe I'll have to bring Cappy on a future one of these, Elise, because I think you and her would both really resonate. But one of the things as I was reading it, I thought of Elise. I thought, this is Elise to a T, is when she talks about why so many people have a struggle creating the reality they want, because her big thing is about how to manifest and stuff. She says that instead of saying, I want to be a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, when you know you're not deep down, her thing is changing the wording to, what if I could imagine myself being a millionaire? Or what could I do if I could imagine? I'm not wording it properly, but it was like,
I could put that into a mind seed, right? I'm totally open to being a millionaire.
Well, and hers
that's
is like
different than saying I'm open, right? I could be ready to be a millionaire if I knew how.
Yeah,
right?
well,
So
hers
you're
is like almost like I'm open to the possibility that I could be a millionaire or something like that. But however she words it, and it's a psychological thing she's doing to you. It's changing you from saying, I'm already a millionaire, which is what we've all been taught is how to manifest. Just
you got the little voice in the back of your head going, you're full of crap.
Yeah, well, you're saying,
and that voice
I'm a millionaire. I don't need to worry about money. And then you're going to the store, like trying to count out your change to buy something. the two don't compute.
It's full of resistance. It's the
Yes.
resistance.
Yeah.
Right?
So I like what she does because it's very similar to what you do, Elise.
Oh, thanks, Corey.
Opening your mind to the possibility, and then also the opening your mind to, I believe that you believe I have the possibility of being a millionaire.
That's a mind seed.
Right, that one step removed, where when you have that manifestation or that belief that's so far from your reality, it's going to activate all of your nervous system into that fight or flight freeze, right? Because you're like, it's bullshit. Like, it's totally not true.
Right?
Yeah,
right, lady.
Right. All of your upper limits, your paradigms, your limiting beliefs come up. But if you can just open your mind to the possibility. So I'm opening my mind to the possibility that I could at some point in time become a millionaire, or I believe that you believe I could be a millionaire.
That's a really good one. I like that. It takes the pressure off. So there's a frequency that we carry, right? There's a frequency that we hold, and that can hold us from. Mm-hmm. So I love this. I love anything is possible when I believe it is. Right? Anything is possible. If I believe it's possible, it's possible. And so that's, again, I call it easing in to being and becoming and attracting.
Totally. Yeah.
Amazing.
Because I
know you have to hop off, Corey.
Yeah, I don't mean to interject. I just want to make sure I break away before I start getting the messages saying, where are you at? When's the start? And how come it's not live? So, Katherine.
I double booked. Just say it like it is.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, I mean, there was an overlap. So, Katherine, I appreciate you. I adore you. I think the world of you. We'll wave the flag for you. We'll call it a to be continued. And I just appreciate you for being here. And you're in good, capable hands with Elise. And I'll let you guys go until you feel you're done.
Yeah, we'll hang out for a little bit more, find out where we can reach you.
And also go back via Messenger, Katherine. But thank you once again.
Thank you.
Have an amazing conversation, everybody.
Hey, now I can see you in all your beauty. We have more space together.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that the whole taking the pressure off. It's very it's really, we're all going for relief. I talk about this a lot. We're just going for the sense of relief, right? Yeah. If I just have the perfect relationship, or if I just make this much money, or what am I going to feel? I'm going to feel relief. I'm going to give myself permission to let go of some of that resistance. So when you're working with a client who you recognize has a lot of that, right? Because resistance is energy, right? And that's heavy weighted energy, and that takes up space. What would maybe one perspective shift you would offer aside from I know you believe that I could, right?
Yeah. So such a great point, because so the language that I use with my clients is, does it feel expansive or does it feel contractive? So expansive is anything that feels like that relief, that release, that life-giving. Could be joy, love, abundance, vitality, happiness, and recognizing that for some people, those feelings might be a little bit more intense than they're used to. So it could be for some people that they're used to living in a state of contraction, which feels like fear, worry, anxiety, stress, anger. It's that fight or flight. And so we do a lot of work with using the tool of noticing. So starting to notice when you feel contractive, when you feel expansive, because when you notice, then you have a choice, right? Because all of us have patterns. We run patterns, and for the majority of people, they're unconscious. They're just kind of like under, they're just like right in our unconscious or subconscious. And so when we start to notice, then it actually creates more space for us. And so the first tool that I work with people is to notice what you're noticing. And so noticing, I notice I'm feeling, fill in the blank, whatever it is that you're feeling. And then we actually work with recalibrating your nervous system. And we do that through specific types of breathing to help you move from that fight, flight, freeze down into the rest, digest, create. And so they'll notice when they're feeling constricted, right? Angry, anxious, sad, reactive, that they can notice, they pause, and then they breathe. And with that, and it's like in through your nose and out through your mouth like a straw, just in whatever way feels good to you, because we're all wired a little bit differently. And so when you breathe in, you can feel yourself like, oh, you just like sink right into your body, and it's a message that you're safe. It sends a message to your nervous system that you're safe. And so when you're trying to create, and it's all energy, right? It's all energy. When you're trying to create, it's all energy. So when you're trying to create a new result from an energy that's given you your current results, they're not on the same channel. If you're calling in, you want like, you know, passionate love, or you want freedom and flow in the financial realm, or you want health and vitality, and you're tuned to the channel of like, oh, well, all the good ones are taken, or, you know,
that's the station you're going to get.
That's the station you're going to get. And so noticing, the first step is really noticing, like, what am I tuning to? And then how do I actually change the channel? And it's all energy. So how do I actually come from the energy of whatever it is that I would love to create and manifest in my life? And recognizing that it's not like you just flip a switch and you're done. That's not how it happens. It's a process. And I loved what you shared about, you know, people can go to an inspirational event, come away, they're all like motivated, but inspiration without action is just entertainment. So
yes, and it actually can make things feel worse. Totally. Like I already went to this event because I knew that there was something I wanted to change, but I don't know how. When I host an event, when I speak on a stage, it's always interactive. We'll do a tapping session. I'll have them at the beginning pick something that you do not want to take home with you and you and want relief in. So by the end, we'll do a whole session and I will help them calm the amygdala and give them a tool, something tangible so they can feel the shift as opposed to now feeling more full of anxiety. And I'm speaking for myself because I spent before I, you know, got into this career and into this part of my life, I was experiencing that. I'd go and I'd be like, I already know that there's things I want to do. Like, just give me the tangible, like I can apply this in my life right now and be the driver and the master of my own, you know, my own relief, really.
Yeah. And that's really what being a catalyst is about helping people become that main character of their own story.
Right.
And I can absolutely relate. When I was younger, just feeling like my life, I knew it sucked. It was horrible. And I knew I wanted something different, but I had no idea. Like I had no idea what that was. I had no idea what it would even look like or feel like. All I knew was that what I was experiencing sucked.
Right.
Like this
sucks. I just wanted to unsuck.
Right. And I wanted to unsuck, but I don't know how. I just know that this sucks. Right. And I don't even know like what that other thing might look like or that it's even possible for me. Yeah. It's yeah.
But that's you have to know what you don't. So, and that's another thing too. Like people are like, you know, they're so stuck on, I don't mean they generally, but when we are, and I'll include myself, when I'm stuck in something, I'm able to now look at it and say, oh my God, this is so awesome. Because if this is really pissing me off and this really sucks, there must be something, whether I know it or not, that I know doesn't suck, because otherwise I wouldn't care.
Yes.
It wouldn't suck. Like if it was just whatever and it was in a state of neutrality, there would be no sucking and unsucking, right? But because it sucks, there must be something that I know deep down or in some way, shape, or form that is better for me or I'm more connected to than this, because I wouldn't be feeling this crappy if not.
Totally. It's the contrast, right? And Abraham Hicks talks about that. It's the power of the contrast. And so, you know, language that I use is longing and discontent. And that's how we connect with the life force that's expressing through us, is through our longing and discontent. And the discontent is like, this sucks. Right? Wow, I've sure got some clarity on some pieces that I would not love here.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love that, being able to lean into this is the good news. Right. And then
good
also,
because I know that something's got to be better, because this really stinks.
Yeah. And then the other thing that happens, and I am, you know, I'm sure you know this, is that as we start to expand into greater results, so greater happiness, fulfillment, alignment, joy, more financial freedom, greater health, more love, we're living in a life that we haven't known yet. And so it can actually trigger us to constrict into the familiar. And it's like that devil you know is better than the devil you don't, right? So I know, like, yes, this sucks, but at least I know what the suck is like. Whereas when you start to feel that like greater, like freedom and flow and ease and joy and fulfillment and all of
Doesn't
that,
always feel safe.
it often doesn't feel safe. You know, and when people climb, I had a client telling me about her stepfather who climbed Mount Everest. And that the way that you actually do it is you climb up and then you come back down, because you need to give your body time to acclimatize. So it's the same thing when you're working with these greater results. You want to give your nervous system time to acclimatize. And so, you know, Gay Hendricks talks about this with the upper limit problem. So as you achieve that greater result, you're going to notice yourself kind of feeling a little bit like, ooh, right? Because you're using the tool of noticing where you're noticing. You're feeling
right.
So you just slack it off a bit. You don't slack right back down to where you were, where you started, right? So you kind of grow and then you bring it back down. This is my new normal. And you actually give your nervous system, you give your energy a chance to recalibrate to this is my new normal. This is my new normal.
Wow, that's like that's an interactive mind seat right there. Like recognizing that space. And I know for me personally, and I still see it. And I always say, just because, you know, I'm connected and intuitive and I know what I know when I know what I know, right? There's different versions of us, and I'm sure you've had that experience too. Like when I'm in coaching mode, when I'm on stage, when I'm in hosting mode, I'm connected to a whole, like I have the A team, and then, you know, I can step away and then I go through my own challenges. I didn't get a get out of being human free card. Let me just say that, you know.
If you did, you wouldn't be on the earth, right? You'd still be in the non-physical.
Right, exactly. And so that being said, is that one of the patterns that I recognized from an energetic standpoint for myself too. And I always know that we have different versions of ourselves. You know, it's the little girl, it's the 17-year-old. Okay, she was making choices that were not very good, so I took back over. So when we can have that awareness as well, I think that that's really important. And then that body mind, I call it the body mind, right? Like the body will physically respond. Yeah. So does it and sometimes it'll respond in the gut or in the chest or in the throat or in the head when things are going really well. Well, maybe when you were a kid, things went really well. And then all of a sudden you found out your parents were getting divorced or your best friend wasn't your best friend anymore. And it didn't feel safe for things to be that happy for you anymore. Yeah. And that version of us made an okay, I got your back. I'm never going to let you be that happy again because you can get the wind knocked out of you, or you can, you know, be sideswiped or whatever with news that crushes you. And so we have that version of us that's always got our back. And until that version of us recognizes that it's safe, to get to that next level, to have that success, to be that happy for a long period of time, and it just doesn't come in spurts. I think that that's an important piece, and it has been for me, as I'm sure you've seen it for yourself, because we're all human, and then for your clients as well. So when you do hit that point with your clients, is there like a certain perspective that you could give them? Or I don't want you to give away your secrets, but is there?
Oh, yeah.
I know. I mean, but I'm always curious, you know, because I know what I do with my clients. I know what I can do for myself, but I think that that's important that, you know, people recognize that when you work with somebody as wonderful as you, that you do recognize those points in their lives that, you know, wait, maybe you're stuck here because this is where you're stuck and this is what we can do.
Yeah. So
because you talked about feeling safe, and I think that that's the piece.
Yeah, safety is so key, right? And recognizing that. So, so I integrate lots of things because, like, I have a master's in counseling, I do NLP, I do coaching, I do other stuff as well, energy stuff, and so it kind of depends a little bit. But the way that I start to work with people is we start with creating a vision of what you would love for your life. And really, and I love, Jenny talked about this, right? That most people spend more time planning a holiday or a long weekend than they do actually thinking about what they want for their life. And so many of us can get into this pattern where, well, these are just the things you do. You have a partner, you get married, you have kids, you have a job, you work, you pay off your mortgage, you die, like, right? So there's these ideas that we bought into, and we're just, for many people, just going through the motions. And so the way that it starts to shift is you notice the longing and discontent that either this sucks, and it could be that, that loud, the discontent could be that loud, or it could just be this like feeling of like, is this all there is? Like, is this it?
Mm-hmm.
So you're tuning into that, and then we start with creating a vision. So I ask people, what would you love for your life? And we actually future pace it 3 years into the future to help bypass the subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind, if you say like in 6 months, it's gonna be like, whoa, we never did that before, nothing's gonna change. And it starts to put those blocks up. So when we go future pace to 3 years out, the subconscious mind, which is where all of those limiting beliefs, all your operating systems exist, it kind of relaxes a little bit because it doesn't quite know what's possible. So by doing that, you start to get more into what is it that's seeking to emerge through you? How is life itself seeking to express through you? And so it starts with connecting with, well, what would I love? And we look at the full spectrum. So your health and wellness, and that's your, your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health and wellness, your love and relationships, your time and money freedom, and your vocation and creative expression. So it's this complete picture of, if you had.
So basically you step into a new you. Oh, I love that. I just,
yeah.
The magic wand.
Yeah, a magic wand. Like, what would you love? And then, so we create that vision of what we would love. And then we start to learn how to become the energetic match. So we start to learn how to tune our frequency.
It's very Joe Dispenza-esque.
It's like, Joe Dispenza, Deepak Chopra, Abraham Hicks, Bob Proctor, Wallace Wattles,
all
Hill,
of it in there.
All of them, right? All of them. And what I love about it
is you as the catalyst.
Yeah, as the catalyst, right? For other people to light their spark. And so when you start to create that, what happens? And this is, I love the deliciousness and the simplicity of this process. So it's simple, but it's not easy.
Oh, so girl, you just resonated with me. I'm always like, it's simple, but simple's not always easy.
It's simple, but it's not easy. So as you start to really connect with the energy of the woman living that life, how it feels, how you're showing up for yourself, how you talk, what you think, where, all of that, you're really trying it on. Anything that is not a vibrational match will by design come up for release and repatterning. So all of the subconscious limiting beliefs, all of those upper limits, all of those agreements that you made to keep yourself safe, they will emerge. That's why it's designed that way. They will actually emerge because you can't have love and, fear of love. You can't have them both.
Right.
One or the other. So as you start to tune to this is going to come up and say, hey, come back down here. This is familiar. This is comfortable. This is our normal. And so we learn how to actually repattern those. So knowing that that's actually the good news when that stuff shows up doesn't feel like good news, to be clear. Sometimes it just
it sucks.
Honestly, it's hard. Been there, done that still, right? It's not like, and if any coach ever says, oh, I've got it all figured out, they haven't, right? If we're on this planet, we've got stuff to learn. So as it comes up, being able to train yourself to recognize that this is the good news.
I love it. I mean, right there.
It's there
like anyway. It's already in your cup.
It's there anyway. Now it's actually into your consciousness so you can make a different choice about it. And that's when it's the noticing, it's the pausing, it's the breathing, it's the helping yourself feel safe in your body. And then it's connecting to a different frequency of energy.
And so
I
then
love it.
the energy is either your vision of what you would
Mhm.
love or gratitude.
Mm.
Gratitude, because gratitude is the vibration that's in harmony with abundance. And if you think about abundance, abundance, a lot of people think is just material wealth, but it's all things. It's health, it's love, it's joy, it's expression, it's fulfillment. So abundance, you want a more abundant life in all areas. And so when you learn to start to tune your nervous system, your body, your energy body to the vibration of gratitude, you then become a vibrational match for greater and greater levels of abundance.
Dang, girl. Mic drop. And that's how it goes down with the catalyst.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
But not easy. Simple, but not
Simple,
easy.
but it's not easy.
Not
and I'll
easy.
also tell you this, just ain't that easy either. People are like, just do this, just do that. Listen, if I was just going to do it and it was that easy, I would have just done it, right?
Totally.
Like,
totally.
just ain't that easy either. So simple and just, it's not that easy.
Yeah, right. Because all of this information is out there. And if we could do it on our own, we would have already.
We would have just already done it.
Would have just already done it, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
You know this. That's why coaching is so important to have, because the only two ways that you shift that result for yourself, one of two ways. One is with a strong emotional impact, and that could look like a crisis thing, like a health, divorce, or a failure or something like that, or a structure of support with space-time repetition to instill that new operating system.
I love that. So how could somebody get in touch with you to start that process?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I am committed to people's transformation, and I'm not attached that it's with me. So if it's really about finding the person
I was going to say it's about resonating and feeling safe.
Totally, right? So it's like you find a therapist, you find a doctor, you find a hairdresser, you find a whatever, a pet groomer, pet sitter. That's definitely want your pet sitters to be good. We want all those people to be good. But it's about the person that fits with you.
And who you resonate with.
And so if what I'm saying that you're like, oh, I just feel like there's something there, listen to that. Just connect with me on social media. I always do a complimentary clarity call with people. And it's really
I call it the residence call. Do we resonate together, right?
Yeah. Totally. I love that. Right.
Yeah. And so is it Catalyst or is it Katherine? How would they find you on? Because I know you have the Catalyst coaching.
Yeah. Catalyst coaching or Katherine Loranger. So I'm on, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, website, catalystcoaching.com. Yeah. They can connect with me. And then I also have an event coming up on October 16th.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, it is a full day virtual. So it's live virtual. It's a vision ignition immersion. So when you talk about the two ways to shift your mindset, it's that strong emotional impact. So that's what that day is about. It's really about some framework, some understanding, and then really, really connecting, creating, getting clarity on that vision. And then understanding 3 steps that you can take right away and apply throughout your life to start to shift your results. It's also
so how could somebody find that event? Is that also on your social media?
On my socials as well. Yeah, it's on my
socials. If you just put all that information in the comments, I know Corey's got you all over LinkedIn and all that. I am, holding space for the Blue Talks Flip Your Script group on Facebook. So I just want to make sure all that information goes into the comments there as well.
Yeah.
For people who are hopping on and kind of finding their resources there.
Yeah.
And I would love to also have you on Flip Your Script Friday as it continues to roll out. So Flip Your Script Fridays are every Friday, or they have been every Friday. The retreat has taken up has held my space.
Passion project
since December. Well, it's really more than a passion project. It's one of those inspired, was guided. And there's a whole story behind how Manatee Landing Retreat showed up in our lives, and the seed that was planted we hold space as a coach. We hold space on stage. We hold space. I'm very interactive. I love when somebody actually has an experience, because I believe that it's the experience that somebody personally has that makes the impact and the change, because it's personal and it comes from their perspective.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really recognize it at the time. I always had an Airbnb that I ran, because I love to meet people if I wasn't traveling. And it was always just kind of grew on its own. It was always busy and successful. And I became a super host. But what I didn't recognize until Manatee Landing Retreat was birthed during the pandemic was that really that is my calling. That is my purpose, to create destinations and create opportunities for people to come and have a personal, right there, hands-on, fun-filled, adventure-filled flip your script experience. And so that's what Manatee Landing Retreat is in Weeki Wachee. So it's kind of held my attention, but I do love the Flip Your Script Fridays, where we bring on incredible people like yourself to help plant seeds of perspective, to help individuals who maybe overly focusing on trying to get rid of what they don't want and have lost sight of what it is that they really want to create in their lives. So to plant these seeds of perspective that people can maybe, piggyback on or take or plant in their mind instead of these thought weeds, to help them start to grow that interactive. Okay. Yes. You can create your life. You can change your life. You can make different choices. Well, let's lost me already. It is how it feels. So, but every Friday, starting in January again, for just a half hour, quick little bites, not a whole hour and a half, half hour, hang out, plant seeds of perspective from incredible people who have flipped their script in their own lives. So I'd love to have you on the show. It's right on the bLU Talks Flip Your Script stage, and people can come and comment and ask questions, and just they leave that half hour, start their weekend with these new seeds of perspective that they can start planting in place of the thoughts that just aren't working.
I love that, right? And that really provides that space-time repetition as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, like I'm just about 50, I'm just shy of 50. I've had 50 years of having a certain thought pattern.
Exactly. Like a habit.
And so is that going to shift in a month? Probably not.
Right.
I'm going to start to see shifts, significant shifts, but really it's that space-time repetition. So I love that. And different messages, right? Different, because I can say, and I love doing group coaching. It's my favorite, because people get so much from each other. I can share it, and then someone else shares it, and it's like, for other people.
Right. And we were more in the habit, and every Friday I would say, please share your mind seed, in this interview on the group. So I'm going to ask everyone, whoever is watching now, any of our incredible thought leaders, coaches, and guides that we've had on this week, please share your mind seeds in the comments underneath your day, right? If you were interviewed on day one, because sharing the mind seeds also keeps that going, where people can hop on and say, hey, this mind seed resonates with me. I'd like more of this in my life.
Yeah.
I also created the Flip Your Script band, which is a physical reminder. And actually, I'm going to take ownership of it and talk about that every single time. And these are available. I'm going to find a place to make them specifically available for people to order. They're like $2 a band, but they're game changers. We hand them out at our retreat. These are our magic bands. We hand them out to the kids, and we say, listen, if you can think it, it can show up in your life. And so that keeps the consistency going too, that, if you have a thought and you're recognizing it's a pattern that's not working, and I wouldn't grow that in my garden, you take the band and you flip it to the other side, and you start to learn how to flip your script, change that pattern in one's own mind. So I'll be happy to share the Flip Your Script bands for anybody who wants it. Just leave your name in the comment, and I can get one out to you as well. But yeah, you have been amazing. Hanging out with you and getting to know you better. I'm not sure where Corey is, but who knows? Maybe
That's
he's
okay.
listening. It doesn't matter. Again, so please leave your information in the comments below. That would be awesome. And then let's stay in touch for sure.
Yeah, I would love that. And I want to hear more about living in an RV, because my husband and I, as we lean into what would we love, we're like, you know what? I think we'd love to just travel around in a fifth wheel for a while.
Yes, we could talk a little bit about that until Corey comes on. So here's just like coaching, like people are like when I hear people are like, oh, I want an RV. The first question, this is the first tip that I would suggest, or the first seed that I would start to plant is, how do you want to travel? People don't think about that. People are like, oh, this looks cute and this is big and this is luxury. But how do you want to travel? Do you want to see places that you haven't seen before? Right? Do you want to just park your RV and maybe an RV park and leave it there for a couple of months and have a car and be able to like just check out the area? Do you want to be able to get into your home and drive it? Right? Do you want a fifth wheel where, you have to be careful where you pull in? You may have to make sure there's a place to pull out, because backing up a 40-foot fifth wheel is not an easy feat. And I don't know a lot of people that can do that. So, it's things that we don't necessarily think about. Like the idea of RVing is cool. Even if you have a 40-foot, class A, that's really big. I driveway surf. I'm here in Maine at my sister's house, and I'm able to park in the driveway, and they still have enough space for their car, and I can plug in, and I have my own private space in my private home, but I can still be here in their home. So I love driveway surfing. I love meeting people and being able to pull into their area and just needing a 110 outlet. Yeah. So that's my sweet spot. So thinking about how you guys want to travel, then there's memberships, there's Thousand Trails, there's Passport America, there's Harvest Hosts where you can boondock. So there's different ways of seeing the country.
Yeah. Yeah, we're up in Canada, so with the border stuff, that's a bit of a thing. We have actually had a couple of Class C's before. We had like an older one that we co-owned it with friends, and we like shared it, which was super fun.
And that's smart.
Yeah, nothing
that's
like
a really smart way.
The amount of times that you use it, right? Yeah, so that was super fun. And then we also had we bought like a newer Class C with a couple of slides. But we're thinking, because oh my God, this is what I love about what I do, is what would you love? Not what have you done before, not what do you think your family thinks you should do, not what is everybody else doing, but like, what would you love for your life? What makes you come alive? And for him, he loves working overseas. So he's worked in like Africa and Dominican and Chile and Mexico, and he loves it. So I'm like, well, then I love that for you. And all of my work is virtual. So thinking, a fifth wheel, because like looked at looking at the different layouts. I do podcasts, I do coaching. So having like a separate
fifth wheel would be perfect for you, because basically it's like a tiny home.
Totally. Right. Yeah. And then have kind of set up, for a couple months, because his rotation is, potentially 2 months away at a time. And then when he comes home, we kind of do a little bit more exploring.
You got it.
Yeah.
You already thought about it.
Oh, we've totally been. We've got the models we're looking at, the year. Yeah. But that's
that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. And what I love is really leaning into possibility thinking in all areas of life.
Absolutely.
Right? And for people listening, in whatever it is that you would love to create, like what would it be like to really, really lean into possibility thinking for yourself?
Exactly. I love it. And I love that you thought it through, but in going through your process, you recognize, right? You have to think about, how do I want to travel? Like, what's going to work for me in this new venture? And because I know the industry and I know what it's like to be full-time RVers. I mean, we full-timed, my fiance and I, for about a year. Well, we're still in an RV. We have a 31-foot RV. We bought the property next to this old motel that we bought in Weeki Wachee, Florida, that we revived and turned into what we call an everyday retreat, where you can come and retreat from your everyday and kayak and swim with the manatees and be in these beautiful natural springs. But we really just wanted a place to pull the RV in after when we were traveling to call home. We really didn't find just that spot. But what we did find, because the possibilities are limitless, is that spot, and it came with a motel. So we bought this 5-room motel that just needed love, needed an infusion of a new vibe. And we have the RV spot that's right next door so we bought both properties, and we bought a larger RV thinking we were going to travel. So we have the 31-foot with a slide out, and that's our little tiny home. Yeah. And then I have the 24-foot that we've been traveling in, where when I need to go and I'm doing projects and I'm traveling, I can take her and be mobile.
That is super fun.
So it's worked out, and we just chose to be in a 24-foot RV with 2 bicycles on the back, traveling all over the country. So, I mean, that's a very different choice than having a 5th wheel and being able to park it and having a car.
Totally. Yeah. And also with him working away and me, like podcasting and coaching and a smaller space, like I would love a dedicated office space. And then when he, at some point in time, we might do a smaller one or something different. And we also love, getting out in the boondocks where other people don't really go.
Exactly. And having a 5th wheel is perfect because you do have that front that you can use as an office space, or the back. I mean, it depends on the layout of the 5th wheel.
Yeah.
But well, let me know when you hit the road and when you start traveling, because I am always up for a visit somewhere different, visiting people that I haven't met before. And I know that we're in the middle of the pandemic, but that too shall pass. This global plot twist is changing and shifting.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, I know that we're going over time, and not sure where Corey is, but I'm going to say thank you so much. And we're going to stay connected for sure. Please put your information and contacts in the comments below. And we will definitely continue the conversation at a later date. And until then, just be you.
Thank you. So lovely to connect.
Yeah, same here. So I'm not sure how to end because I didn't start the whole thing. So why don't we just see if we can just thank everybody together for being here today. We're going to be back, Corey and I, tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern time with some more great guests. I guess she left the show. So I want to thank everybody again. It's been a great show today, Corey. Thank you so much for being here. I'm not sure if we are going to disconnect us, but I will see you tomorrow. And again, just remember that anything is possible when you believe it is.